Welcome back. I'm standing outside the U.S. Mint on Esplanade Avenue in New Orleans. Did you know that this was actually the original site of Fort St. Charles, a French colonial fort built around 1754?
same on both sides, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, you know that.
In the early 1700s, New Orleans was still a French colonial outpost carved out of swampy land along the Mississippi River. To protect this new settlement from potential threats, whether from rival European powers or local uprisings, the French built a series of fortifications. One of the most important was Fort St. Charles, located on the Mississippi River front. Built in the 1720s, Fort St. Charles was a part of the original defensive system laid out by the city's founder, Jean-Baptiste Bienville. Made primarily of earthworks, timber, and later brick, it stood guard over the city's entrance via the river. It wasn't just a military post, it was a symbol of French authority. Later, when the Spanish took control of Louisiana in 1763, they maintained and modified the fort. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase handed the territory over to the United States, and Fort St. Charles transitioned into American hands before eventually being decommissioned as the city expanded. Today, the physical structure no longer exists, but archaeologists have uncovered parts of its foundation, reminding us of the city's colonial roots and military beginnings. Just a few blocks from the old fort site stands a building that has weathered centuries, the old U.S. Mint, located at Esplanade in Decatur. Constructed in 1835, this was one of the first branches of the United States Mint outside of Philadelphia, chosen because of New Orleans' booming port and growing economic importance. The Mint produced millions of gold and silver coins, much of it from southern mines and imported bullion. It played a crucial role in expanding the national economy in the decades leading up to the Civil War. The building itself, designed in Greek Revival style by architect William Strickland, was built to impress and to last. In 1861, when Louisiana seceded from the Union, the Mint was seized by Confederate forces. It even briefly produced Confederate currency, making it the only U.S. mint to strike coins for a rival government. After the Civil War, the Mint returned to federal hands and continued operation until 1909, when coinage ceased. But the building didn't fade into obscurity. Over the 20th century, it served various federal roles, including a prison and a Coast Guard depot. Today, the old U.S. Mint is part of the Louisiana State Museum system, and it houses exhibits on jazz, coin production, and the city's cultural legacy. It is one of the oldest surviving structures from the early U.S. federal presence in the South. Fort St. Charles and the U.S. Mint reflect the transformation of New Orleans, from a fragile colonial outpost guarded by wooden forts to a bustling American city, minting coins and controlling commerce. One stood to defend territory, the other helped build the national economy. The ground that the Mint is on is layered with history of empires, soldiers, settlers, and entrepreneurs who helped make New Orleans the crossroad of cultures it is today.